Okay, my name is Sue Chapman. I do these tours as a volunteer for the Triangle Inn. I am on the board of directors for the Lord Heigl House, and I'm a past president and an active member of Venice Area Historical Society. So history is pretty important to me. The tours were originally started by the Venice Area Historical Society, and around 2000 or so, the Triangle Inn picked up the option to continue them. So they've been going on quite a while.
All right. And can you tell me a little bit about the trolley itself? Like, where did you guys get that?
The trolley is commissioned from Sarasota Trolley Company. We rent it, and these tours, of course, are a fundraiser. And so we hope to fill the bus and therefore be able to pay for the trolley and also to make a few bucks for the Triangle Inn Association.
And can you tell me a little bit about exactly what it is someone who comes out here and rides the trolley is going to get to experience?
They're going to get a very packed in, concise history of Venice, in essence. We start in the pioneer days and we take them all up to practically current times, and we tell them a lot of history about the BLE and how they came to build the city of Venice, or to develop it actually. And we point out a lot of the historic structures along the way, including the apartment district, the downtown area, the commercial buildings, and the residential areas.
Right. And what would you say has been the funnest part about getting to do all the tours?
The funnest part is having Bob Briner right behind me, because Bob has been a long-time Venice resident. I've been here a long time, but Bob's been here longer than I. And he is a great color man, and he adds all those really interesting, fun quirks that he sticks in the speech. And behind me in the lime green shirt is Bob Briner. If you're a local resident, you know Bob. He used to own the Dairy Queen in town for about 100 years.
Only 46.
Only 46. He's a young fella today. We're all feeling perky because it's a beautiful day here in Paradise. And the Triangle Inn Association welcomes you as you help fund their good work in the community by buying your ticket. So welcome aboard, and here we go. As we're driving out of the complex today, if you look over on this side, you will see the back of the library, the community center, and beyond that, what you can't quite see, but it's there, is the art center. With the city archives on this side, we formed a very interesting component of Venice, very important part of the community. We're going to be heading down Pedro Street today first, and you're going to see a lot of small homes that were built for the early railroad workers, who of course were retired from the BLE, and several have been renovated, added on to, and of course some have been replaced by new buildings. And only two of them that we see when we get on that street are actually from 1920s, and Bob will point them out to you. Today, of course, Venice has stringent building codes, and we try to keep it all in that early theme. The city of Venice, as it exists today, is the result of the development of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers. And for tongue-tiedness, we're going to reduce that to the BLE. So when I refer to the BLE, you'll know who they are. And to fully understand the impact that this powerful union had on our present-day city, we have to talk about some of the things that the BLE and their construction crews did when they got here. It's always fun to see if you can tell the old ones and the new ones.
309. Oh.
309 is one of the original houses here on Pedro.
Next one new.
Then new. And of course, I think you guessed the little green one.
In between.
Bob says in between.
Oh.
Old, but made to look like new. And for sale. You can see, though, that as they build or remodel, they try to keep the older look. And if you look on your right, we're approaching one of the older ones.
Next is new.
And next, brand new. Hard to tell sometimes, isn't it? Now, going back to talk to our early days about Venice, in 1871, Robert Roberts arrived in Venice from Georgia. In August 1882, he received a patent for 121 acres of land. And in his application, he stated, I've set out 150 orange trees, 350 lemon trees, and 1,000 bananas and other fruit trees. His niece, Helen Drew, married Felix Pinard, a photographer, who photographed the people in the area then known here as Horse and Chaise. The correct pronunciation is Horse and Shay, but a lot of people call it Horse and Chaise. And it was named after a clump of trees that, as you were sailing alongside the shoreline, resembled a horse pulling a high-top carriage. Remember, there was not many ways to get here, and boat was a common means of transportation. Now, in 1884, Frank Heigl arrived from Philadelphia, and he bought 74 acres from Mr. Roberts. The large Heigl family raised garden crops and processed fruits into marmalades, syrups, and wines. And it was not until 1888 that there were enough families here in the area to allow the establishment of a post office. The name was chosen Venice. It was established south of Shaken Creek in what is now Nokomis. And the name Shaken, by the way, came from the cattle ranchers who shook a piece of dried cowhide or leather that made a cracking sound, and that encouraged the cattle to cross the creek. Now, in 1911, Bertha Honore Palmer and her brother Adrienne had acquired substantial land in the area, and they were anxious to develop it. Mrs. Palmer was a very wealthy and shrewd businesswoman, a widow of Potter Palmer, who built the Palmer House in Chicago. And she had a lot of influence in the area. She had the railroad line extended from Sarasota down to Roberts Bay. And she built a depot at the new terminus and moved the Venice post office to the depot, which was at the corner of Tampa and Nokomis Avenue in town. She also built Eagle Point, a hunting and fishing establishment for her northern friends who would come down to winter here. And she also had plans for a large resort hotel in Venice. Now, in the 1880s and 90s, a 90-acre citrus plot was platted in the area where we are now driving. This is now known as the Bayshore Estates subdivision, but it was here that Joseph Lord, a land speculator, who personally planted many of the citrus trees, sometimes working by the light of a lantern, acquired the land for the Palmers. His son George wrote a column for the local newspaper under the pen name of Nemo, and he gave a lot of observations about everyday life in the area. By the way, he picked up his pen name Nemo from the name of the family sloop. In 1910, the grove was sold to an investment company headed by Charles Augustus Stone.